We're waiting for our YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram channels to connect. Welcome everyone. My name is Reza. I work with Ingwe Immigration licensed firm here in Canada. You've heard or you haven't heard, the latest express entry draws have happened today. After such a long time, we call it the express entry drought. Yes, folks, today was the first official express entry draw in all of 2022. And there's good news and there's bad news. As many of you know, the number of points was significant. The minimum threshold was 557 points. And what does that mean? What does that mean? It's for all programs. So does it mean that Canadian Experience Class applicants have to have 557 points? Yes. Does it mean that provincial nominee programs applicants under express entry need 557 points? Yes. If it's federal skilled worker, yes. So it's an all program draw, and this hasn't happened since COVID. Not even 2022, 2021 did we have that program. But it's not complicated, everyone. We're gonna break it down for you so you understand why is it 557. Okay, what is the justification? Should you be worried about whether do I need 557? I'm an international student, I'm an international worker inside of Canada. There's no way in heck I'll get 557, right? Or you're a federal skilled worker and you've got like 520 points or 490 and you are like, yeah, I'm sure I'm gonna get invited the first round. Well, newsflash, folks, there were 226,849 people in the express entry pool. And what it does, express entry typically comes and picks the top 2.5% of the entire pool, and it's all relative. So if let's say there was 50,000 people, and obviously it wouldn't be at 557 points, but with these number of people in the pool, with over 58,000 of them, between 451 to 500 points, or close to 67,000 over 451 points. Well, when you invite 1,500 applicants, you've got to pick the cream of the crop. Okay, so here's the breakdown. Here's the good news. The Canadian government, as you all know, is working on a special program, a policy to introduce later this year. We don't know when. It could be July, could be September. Who knows, right? I don't have that crystal ball yet. And that will allow international students inside of Canada, international workers inside of Canada, an opportunity to convert to PR. So you remember the TR to PR pathway before, right? Everyone remembers that. It was like a gift from the heavens. But now they're thinking of reintroducing a similar program, whether it's exactly the same or it has a variation of that, we don't know yet. That will be your gateway to PR. So don't focus on express entry. The key part is that other program will potentially convert you from inside of Canada to PR. So for applicants who are looking at this express entry draw from outside of Canada, yeah, you've got to have high points. My original prediction was 490, 500 plus. Nobody with 460, 70 had a chance even. The points may drop over time, but you may not know how long you need. Is it 6 months? Is it a year before it drops below 500 for federal skilled workers? So if you're in the federal skilled category, well, time to think of alternatives. There's just too much demand, and the problem isn't that the Canadian government doesn't want all you skilled workers and qualified people. No, they need you badly. They need you more than you need them, but they don't have enough people processing, right? There's not enough resources in the government department, IRCC, to process all these applications. Heck, we've got applicants, clients from TR to PR pathway from last August or June that have not even received the file number yet. And these are applicants from inside of Canada. and you're wondering from outside of Canada, will I have a chance? Well, you may have one next year, but this year it looks like it's going to be 490 to 550, folks, because they don't have the resources to drop the points to invite more people, and there's just too many people in the pool with high number of points in all categories. Okay, so if you're in federal skilled worker, time to think of plan B. If you're in a rush, if you're in no rush, you're somewhere hot sipping some margaritas, hey, relax. Okay, as long as you're not like over 30 yet, because you're gonna drop 5 points every year as your birthday present from the Canadian government. So let's look at this. You're inside of Canada now. Don't freak out. Forget express entry. Yes, have an active profile. This is what we recommend to every single applicant out there. Whether you're our client or not, have an active profile. It's literally doesn't cost you anything. You've got to be in the pool. But whether you'll be selected with 420 points, 440 points, or 460, that's another question. It may happen, it may not happen. We strongly believe they don't have the resources to process all express entry applicants. They're going to come with another program similar to TR to PR, specifically designed to target applicants from inside of Canada. International students, graduate students, international workers. If this happens in the next few months, that's your key for the PR. But make sure you've got your express entry profile. You don't want to lose out, even if there's a 1% chance. Second, you've got your valid IELTS, you're working, you're accumulating all those key eligibility criteria, right? That's what we want to do. That's the key, folks. You don't want to miss that. Again, 557 points, minimum threshold. If you had 556, tough luck. 557 and onwards would have received invitation to apply. We even had clients who had 510 points. Holy moly. And obviously they're not going to be selected. What's the prediction going forward? Why did they pick only 1,500? Well, 1,500 is typically the number they used to invite. Plus, they don't want to invite too many people. They don't have the capacity to process everyone, right? And why are they resuming express entry at such high points with so many, like with such limited number of invitations? Well, it's because there was complaints and they want to make sure the integrity of the express entry and the legitimacy continues, right? They don't want people to think Canada stopped inviting skilled workers. They don't want Canada applicants overseas or inland to think that, hey, they're not doing express entry anymore. So they're starting it, but at minimum level. This is like the first gear in a car, right? And they're going to keep that going. You may see a drop in points as we go on over the next few months, right? Again, this program is open to all applicants in express entry with a valid profile. The federal skilled trades, federal skilled workers, Canadian experience class, 3 substreams. Will we see drop in points? Yes, we will. Will we see a significant drop in points? Not for the first 3-4 months. We may see a little shift towards the end of the year. We will see a drop in points next year. But the key is, will we see a specific draw for Canadian experience class in 2022 under express entry? It may happen. I'm split 50-50. A lot of people I talk to the same. We've got a question from Reshman Rajkumar. Will the CRS cutoff be 475 this year for NOC 1121? Will the CRS? Well, no. I mean, right now we're talking about 570, Reshman. So right now it's, if you look online, you're going to see it's 557. Sorry, excuse me. I made a small mistake. It's not 570. It's 557, right? So 475, your chances as a federal skilled worker are literally 0.001 for 2022. I guarantee you that personally. I shouldn't guarantee anything. I never guarantee anything. But if you're a federal skilled worker and you've got below 500 points, or 490, I don't think you're going to see anything this year in terms of draws that will match your minimum amount of points. Reza, please bless you with your magic. For enough, what about TR to PR for then? Vasu Juneja, 400 points, not for these kinds of draws where all the programs are invited. For Canadian Experience class, not the first 3-4 draws again. 400 points is too low. But the TR to PR pathways or whatever program they're going to introduce in the next 4 or 5 months will be your ticket to PR, folks. That's your ticket to PR. With 400 points as a Canadian Experience class applicant with a valid Express Entry profile, that's the key. Keep your Express Entry profile valid, because even if there's a 1% chance or a 0.001 chance, you want to be in there. But don't count your beans yet, because that's not going to give you the PR due to the fact that it's such low chances. You've got to wait for the new program to be announced and apply then. If you've got 460 or 70 points as a Canadian Experience class, I have hope for you over the next 6 months. And again, nobody knows what is held in this crystal ball called IRCC, but the logic is this. You don't need to be an immigration specialist to know. You don't need to be the Minister of Immigration to know this. You don't need to be a government visa officer or the Prime Minister to know this. You don't need to know, you don't need anything to know this. There's over 227,000 people, or 226,849 people in the Express Entry pool. They take the top 2 to 3%. And the number of people with over 451 to 500 points in that range and higher are, what is it, 7,000 people. And if they invite 1,500 per draw, and if they do, I don't know, every 2 weeks or every 4 weeks, how long is that going to take to get down to the bottom where you're stuck at 440, 450, 420, 390? Use your imagination, folks. It's common logic. There's no secret sauce. There's no secret weapon, okay? Right? That's the point. You've got to be careful. Express Entry right now is not the most ideal situation. If you've got a provincial nomination, an additional 400 points, and you already have 200-300 points, you're in. Right? If you're a federal skilled worker or Canadian Experience guy, you had 560 or 557, 570 points, you're in. You're going to be preparing your documentation over the next 60 days, uploading it. Make sure you do it correctly. You don't want to be refused. This is a once-in-a-lifetime chance, right? That's the key. But if you're not in this category, which out of these 226,000 people, I figure most of you are not in this category of 557 points. What are your options? Well, as I said, locally, if you're an international student worker, you're going to be looking at the new TR to PR variation that's going to be introduced. It's going to be better. I don't know how easy it will be, but it will be much better than this. If you're overseas and you're at 490, 480, you've got a chance in the next 6 months, and maybe next year better. If you're in a rush, I suggest you look at some of our YouTube videos where we talk about some Express Entry hacks, how to gain additional 50 points, how to gain that bonus 200 points. You know, you better have some good financial resources if you want to do that. But if you're outside and you're at 400 points federal skilled worker, forget it. Okay, you've got a better chance of being invited by Donald Trump's White House to immigrate for free to the US than being invited as a federal skilled worker outside of Canada with 400 points, right? We will see the points drop. That's what we expect, everyone. Okay, we will see the points drop over the next 6 months. Not significantly for the general draws. If there's a CEC draw, yes, don't expect it to be 557. If it's a general draw that is inviting all 3 substreams, then yes, you're going to be over 500 at least for the next 3-4 months, right? You've got to be careful. I've got some other questions. So Vasu says, Reza for world president. No, Vasu, I don't want to be world president. You know why? Because then I can't do these lives. I'll be stuck talking to politicians and lying to people. Reshma says, thank you, Reza, for the update. I'm going to be 30 years old in April 2023. Well, you just had your birthday this year, and next year you're turning 30, so you're going to lose points. Will that affect my CR score 475? Will I receive ITA by then? What must be done? I'm clueless. also hopeless. Most people are in the same situation as you, Reshma, especially if you're outside of Canada without Canadian experience class, without Canadian experience. 475 is good. You're going to drop 5 points next year. So you're going to be at 470 on your birthday as a special gift from the Canadian government to you. Okay, I know it's a crappy gift. It's like -5 points. Don't worry, I'm much older. If I was recycled into the Canadian immigration system, I wouldn't even become a permanent resident. They'd probably kick me out, right? So I completely understand where you're coming from. 475, you'd be converted to 470. It's still excellent points, but it's not 100%, right? You can stay in there. I would suggest stay in there, but look at other options, Reshma. If you're, you know, I don't know about your education profile, if you can look at that, potential skilled worker streams, but you do have a chance. 475 isn't that bad. 470 next year isn't that bad, but your chances are dropping. Monitor the situation over the next 3-4 months. Then if it doesn't drop below 500, then you're in bad shape, because next year you'll be at 470, which is already, it was good pre-COVID. It was good. You would have been selected. But now post-COVID, there's this huge backlog, massive backlog in express entry and processing. And it's unlikely that you would be invited at 470 next year. Your chances are in the next 6-7 months. If you're not invited, I wouldn't count my beans after that. Okay? So any other questions? We've been live. We've got some people on the questions. You can post your questions on YouTube. Unfortunately, I don't see the Instagram, Facebook lives. Am I live everywhere? I'm not even sure. That's the problem. Oh, there we go. Yeah, we are live. Perfect. If you don't have any questions, that was our quick express entry update, everyone. Everyone was waiting for it. It was promised. They gave the promise, but they never promised to invite everyone. They didn't promise to come in at 450 points. They just promised a draw. And they're just keeping everyone, quote unquote, happy with a draw, making sure that, hey, we're working. Hey, we're the immigration department. We're working diligently, right? It's 557 draw. So some people do have that many points. Good for you. Congratulations. Please invite me for a non-alcoholic drink, please. Okay. If you get your PR. But the rest of everyone else is stuck. We will see an adjustment in points. All the 3 substreams are open. Canadian experience class can be invited under this draw, federal skilled worker and federal skilled trades. But if you're not, if you don't have enough points, you will not be invited. If you're an international student freaking out right now, freak out time. Don't freak out. There will be other options for you. You may see a CEC draw in the next 6 months, but not very low points. If you're at 400 to 440, forget it. Express entry is not going to be the ticket to PR. The other programs that they will introduce will. Sohrab Ruzbe says, hi Reza, hi. So with 478 points, I have to think of an alternative. I would say monitor the situation till the end of the year, Sohrab, and then by January have plan B ready and implemented, because there's too much of a backlog. Maybe in a year, maybe, but it depends. Time is money, folks. If you've got time to sit around for the government to give you an opportunity to be invited for PR, great, do it. But at 557 points, 1,500 people invited out of a pool of 226,149 people, this is madness, right? Maybe yes, maybe no. Congratulations to 1,500 people. I don't want to turn this channel into a conspiracy theory, but hey, this is literally useless, isn't it? Who agrees with me? Press the like button if you were not selected today or invited for PR through the express entry. I want to see that. Press the like button on the YouTube video if you were not invited. I'm expecting 225,000 likes. No, I'm just kidding. But don't worry, folks. There will be plans. The thing is, IRCC has taken too much on over the last one and a half years. Since summer of 2021 onwards, they've been royally excuse my French, but screwed. Okay? They don't have enough manpower and resources to process everything they've been trying to do. George Spencer Tobias. Is it harder for my spouse to get a visitor visa if I already have petitioned her for a spousal sponsorship outland? I'm still continuing my PGWP. Okay, if I'm petitioning first. Okay, so George, you cannot sponsor a spouse when you're a temporary resident, like a PGWP holder or international student or work permit, right? You all you can do is either a visitor visa for your spouse or a spousal open work permit. Those are the two things. So let's say your question is, hey, I want to apply for visitor visa for my spouse at the same time that I've applied for spousal open work permit. Well, technically it would be useless, because when a spousal open work permit is processed, a visitor visa is issued for them if they are from a visa, not from a visa exempt country. So technically IRCC would process one of those applications, not both. Okay, so I hope I've given you some insight into that. And folks, anybody who is just joining us now, 557 points express entry draw today, July 6th. What does that mean? Why isn't there a specific program outlined or listed? Well, that's because every single substream of all express entry programs were eligible to be invited if they were at 557 and higher. Do we expect lower points? Slightly. Do we expect it soon? No. If I have 440 points, how many international students can I get invited this year? So, not through express entry. I don't think so. You might see other programs open up for you which are outside of express entry. Vasu Juneja says, for TR to PR, do you think I can quit job after applying? The old program was like that, Vasu. The new program, we don't know. Only the minister knows. He has the crystal ball. George Spencer Tobias says, sorry, I mean, if I'm already a permanent resident, please disregard the temporary status there. Well, yeah, so if you're a PR, you can sponsor your spouse overseas or inland. If you, at the same time, you can apply for a visitor visa, there's no guarantee they will approve it. So depending on the country or the country where your spouse resides, if it's a high refusal region, then that visitor visa will be tough to get, right? So there's got to be that person has to have a lot of good profile, travel history, ties to home country, financial. So be very careful. So whoever is joining us today, thanks for joining us. This was an express entry update, the first one of its kind in 2022. Horrible, right? Right? I mean, it's horrible. Was this good news? Would you have rather no express entry draws and then have this express entry draw that shattered all your dreams and hopes of becoming a PR in Canada? Well, that's a different issue. So we've got some questions on Facebook. My colleagues are passing this on. Thank you very much, because I don't see those questions because I'm mainly on the YouTube channel. Nabil G2 says, is there any chance to come for programs for international students? Yeah, they're outside of express entry. We do expect it this year, Nabil. Some specific programs for international students, maybe who've graduated already and work permit holders, not active international students who have never graduated before. And George Spencer Tobias as well on Facebook. We've already responded to you here on YouTube. Vasu Juneja says, thanks Reza. Thanks a lot, Reza. No problem. We're here to help, folks. We're here every Thursday for our live. Today we did this special live specifically due to the July 6th first ever express entry draw in 2022. And I'm okay. I should correct myself. We've had the provincial nominee draws, but to be honest with you, not many applicants have the provincial nominee nomination. So when I mean the first one, it's for federal skilled workers, for Canadian experience class, for federal skilled trades. So all those substreams, that's what I mean when we say the first express entry draw of its kind this year in 2022, because we're not considering the provincial nominee. stream because that has been ongoing forever. And why is that? It's because the federal government has agreements in place with provincial to allow them to invite permanent residents according to a quota they've been allocated from the federal government. A certain number of those come from express entry through the PNP stream, and the federal government cannot break that agreement with the provinces. But with the rest of you folks out there, they have no agreement with you, so they can do whatever they want. So I don't want to sound like a broken record here. Thanks, Reza. It's 3:20 a.m. here in the Philippines now. Gotta sleep soon. I hope my student permit gets approved from my May 2023 intake in Humber College. Have a great day. No worries, George. If you went through Student Direct Stream, hopefully, if everything is done correctly, you will be approved. Humber is a great college. Make sure you gain Canadian experience after you've graduated. Dio Guardo. Hi, Dio. How are you? Reza, thank you for replying last week. I look forward to having a session on Saturday. Awesome. You have a metal trade background. Yes, Dio, I was a trader, ferroalloys, minerals, the works, base metals, stainless steel foundries, cast iron, steel foundries, steel mills, mini mills, the works. You know it, I know it. I look forward to meeting you, Dio, on Saturday. Yes, folks, if you're serious in applying, you're qualified, you're ready to go, book a consultation with me. I'm always available. Thanks for everyone for joining us. Again, express entry draw, the general draw that is open to all the substreams for everyone outside of inside of Canada, besides a provincial nomination. It happened today, 557 points, 1,500 people invited. And this was more bad news than good news, right? I think everyone agrees with me. This was bad news. 557 points. Who has 557 points? Even Bill Gates doesn't have 557 points in express entry, right? If Steve Jobs was alive today, he wouldn't have that. The President of the United States doesn't have that. Even the Prime Minister of Canada doesn't have 557 points if they had a profile in express entry. So what the heck are they expecting of us, right? Anyways, folks, great seeing everyone. We'll be back here tomorrow because Thursdays are our regularly scheduled live sessions, 9:30 a.m., where we talk about different immigration programs and we answer all of your Canadian immigration questions live on the spot and for free, right? Thanks, everyone. We're going to sign off now. Congrats to everyone who was invited today with Express Entry Draw, and good luck to the ones that are still waiting, and hopefully there'll be other options beside Express Entry. And if you don't have any chance over the next 6 to 12 months, think of Plan